All right, so here we are back live again on the writing across of the Sphinx. Here we go with the 3-5 profile. The longer I know 3-5s, the more I recognize that they're the experimental rats in the lab. It's really what they are. At every level you look at them, you think, how do they do it? You've got this third line personality. We know what third line personality is all about. There's this process for them that's difficult. If you're not a 3, and it doesn't matter when whether you're somebody who's a 6 who drops to a 3 in the thematic of the phases, I mean a real 3. If you're a real 3, you were born on the side of the good news wall. If good news is over here, when you're born at the 3, you're over there. And it's like, what do you mean good news? When the Sphinx who's a 3 says to you, that's the way, you can already tell that it's been censored. It's like, it's so bad. This way, you have no idea. I don't want to tell you about all this because I don't want you to go over there again. But you'll find out, go ahead and go on. I dare you. The moment you're a 3, you start off with this. I see the look. I know the look so well. It's this look that says if anything is going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong. And I'm going to know about it. All of this on the other end, yes. It's a nice world down here. And the 3 is going, yeah, yeah, yeah. You're going to go over there. It's going to cost you on the way. You know how much it's going to cost you on the way. For the first hexagram, this is very painful. The 3-5 sphinxes are almost chimeras, ghosts themselves. To be a first hexagram and you get to this first line and you're trying to avoid the fact that you're in a damn body and the body's going to deteriorate. And the third line says not only is it going to deteriorate, it is going to be fast. Anything is going to go wrong, but my body is going to go wrong. So there's the fear of the body. The other thing is the outside. The 3-5 kid is 8 years old and standing on the street corner. Somebody who desperately needs direction immediately goes up to them and says, I've got this problem. I'm bleeding to death. Where's the doctor? And the 3-5 goes like, who knows? There's absolutely no guarantee that it's the right direction. As a matter of fact, it can be totally off. The kid goes like this, and the guy goes like this, and he dies on the way. You don't want to go to the 3-5 streets first hexagram and say to them, "Excuse me, I'm really desperate to tell me which way to go," and they don't want to tell you because they know that 99 times out of 100, no matter where they tell you to go, something goes wrong, and you get it all back, all of it. Not only that, but they're angry with you. This is the 5 underneath. The expectation that it is going to be the great Sphinx, that it's the person that's really going to tell me where to go. I have a great place for you to do this. Huh? The first hexagram gives out the direction without really seeing it. They don't recognize what they're doing. They don't understand the responsibility in what they're doing. They don't see it. And of course, 3-5 from the very beginning of their life are going to be constantly doing this. These are the kind of children that are going to have trouble figuring out what's left and what's right. What's my left shoe and which is my right shoe. They can be extraordinary different though. As a creative being, for me the 3-5 is the heart of the abstract art. As an example, or surrealism, all of these very odd ways in which the creative force can emerge. These are the kinds of artists that nobody sees that they've got the right direction. Nobody can understand that direction. Why you're creating statues out of Coca-Cola bottle caps, you know it, that direction, and you think whatever. They have the worst regulation as artists. If you're 3-5 and you paint like Renoir, everybody else going to shit on you until your head. Oh, it's terrible. It's retro. It doesn't work. It doesn't look good. There are these kinds of beings that when they want to learn out of their trial and error. They develop things out of the trial and error. But always there's the projection on them that they're going to be this or that. And when they're doing this or that, like giving you the wrong direction, they take all this heat. So I was just trying to show you the positive side. The dilemma of the 3-5 is to really see that there's also this creative side. But again, everything you notice about the one is that ultimately it tries to find a way to concretize immortality and that it's seen. In other words, the yang spirit underneath stands where going out the door. And the yang spirit is deeply upset with the form when it's given. In other words, the passenger is saying, in this form was immortal, everything would be okay. Then I could take my creative force forever, but the form is lousy. When you end up with this, they try to create immortal forms, whether that's a literature or art or music or architecture, you name it. Then they try something to create something that will live longer than them. That's become an archetype for the yang. It's an archetype for the male psyche. If you touch the male psyche, what you will get is the deepest level at that they want to be able to do something for their life, that they will survive the death. In most cases, it's ends up being your children. Then we go to the 3-6. The 3-6 on the writing across of the Sphinx. The 3-6 in this case are very different from the 3-5. First of all, we're dealing with the first of the 6 line profile. So we're dealing with a mutative process. We're dealing with very, very deep depression at the early part of the life. Now again, it's going to depend a lot on all this overall design. The third is the signal of the first hexagram for creative production. In other words, the ability to creativity out of that. After all, the three is about the mundane. It's about living in the world. It's about dealing with the consequences of the world. And the pessimism is well earned. If you're going to live in the world, you're going to learn right away that things don't work as promised. But the five, at the unconscious level, always deals with very, very severe consequences to its action, whereas with the six is different. After all, the process of the six is one in which they're ultimately here to be examples. They are the one to be leaders. They are here to be trusted, and that is based on them properly going through the process. If I had a child with the 3-6 this configuration, I would be very, very concerned about the mental stability in the first Saturn, not very creative potential. In other words, it wouldn't be nurturing their creativity. I wouldn't know be nurturing their physiological balance. It's very depressing to be a 3-3 dealing with a 3-1 personality. It's depressing. It's obvious that all the joke, and not a joke that's funny, it's not funny at all. Babies are amazing when they're born. You look in their eyes when they're born. I had that privilege when you see the first time you look at those eyes, the 3-3, one in these cases, the eyes will tell them right away. It's like, oh no, why? Let me go back out. There are no certain things I know that are very spooky. 40,000 babies die every hour. How many of them are 3-6s and 6-3s? There's something about this, oh no, because they know they're going to have this go through all this shit of the concretized plane, all of it. And they're not going to miss a false smell along the way. And they know it. And they know it before they take their first breath, before they say their first word, before they take their first step. They know it right away. And then, boy, oh, they do they know. What's they're very powerful for these babies will be tremendous amount of love. They will have to have the sense that contact with the physical body brings enormous reward and that the physical body is something wonderful. These are babies that really will have to be taught and to accept being in their bodies and at a very early age learn to appreciate the sensuality of the body, the joy of the form and its possibilities. Then we go to the 4-6. The 4-6 on the right angle cross of the Sphinx. If you meet a 4-6 Sphinx on the road, they will always give you direction. And depending on what phase of their life they're on, the direction will change from being wonderful to being ridiculous. However, there's a difference between subjective and objective. And no more is that evident that in dealing with the 4-6. After all, to have a fourth line personality is to be deeply, deeply influential. And when you think about the four and everything that we know about the four, when you look at the fourth line of the first hexagram, which is about aloneness, you see right away about the risk involved in receiving direction with the 4-6 because it has done its homework. Shall we say, give me a post Chiron 4-6 Sphinx and we will listen to their direction. This is the thing. And then for them to go through this process in dealing with this direction, their direction is not so much physical direction, it is a social direction. In other words, we could call this the fiddle on the roof marchmaker line. In the old days you had march matchmakers. A 4-6 Sphinx is good at saying that you'll be really good with this one over here. This is a great job. This is kind of like you'll be really good with this one over here. But don't trust them when they're in the Saturn cycle because they know that's how they learn. They learn how to recognize the social forces that can help them through their creativity. Remember, you cannot escape with the first hexagram, this deep, deep, deep primal force to be creative. It's a line of tension. And everything about the 4-6 is about they have to see. They are the kinds of beings that will rarely begin to flower creatively on the roof. This is the one only time that they can really release their creative potential. So yeah, with these six lines beings, it's all about being going on the roof and learning from whatever happened in these first 30 years, getting out of this pessimism, and then really starting to live as your role model, and that's what it is.